Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to TED Talks Ball. Not TED Talks Ball. We got First and Ted with my co-host Aaron Labigan from 49ers First Takes. We come to you live every Wednesday at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. This is a special Victory Wednesday, but not just any victory. NFC Victory Wednesday, headed to the Super Bowl to play the Chiefs to potentially have our shot at revenge. Aaron, how are you doing on this fine hump day?
I think I'm finally recovered from the game. I was pretty emotionally spent for a couple days. Took a lot out of me watching that game. That was I went from already making mental pictures in my head of, okay, well, it didn't work out, and can we go give it another run next year? Will it even happen? Can we make it to the conference championship? Do we make the playoffs? Just thinking all sorts of negative stuff. And then it happened. It started to happen. It started to unfold. I don't know. Like this is one of the first times I'll admit that I didn't have a ton of hope that they were going to come back. I didn't, personally. Being truthful, I'm not lying. A lot of people say, I always knew. I didn't know. It did. There was no sign. It was just like defense was horrendous. Offense was, you could tell that they were pressing because they were trying to catch up and stuff. And then momentum is amazing in sports. People say momentum, is it a real thing? 100% is a real thing. So yeah, I'm now off that. And now I'm on to, is there any way in hell we can find a way to beat the Chiefs? I think that we can, but we'll discuss that.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it was a roller coaster of emotions. I would have said I thought it was much more likely that we wouldn't come back than we would, but I didn't, think for sure that we'd lose. However, I was saying things like, well, maybe this will get Cal to invest in offensive line. So, but I did have a text thread with my neighbor, and she was basically down in the dumps. And I was like, hey, look, all we got to do is just score right here and not leave any time before the end of the half, and then score coming out of the half. And then, of course, Moody missed the field goal going into the half. That certainly didn't help anything. And then coming out, we only got a field goal on that first drive in the second half. But luckily Gibbs had that fumble. But anyway, yeah, we'll get to all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, there was definitely, some times where I was, like you said, there was no evidence in the first half to support us beating them, coming back and winning. The only evidence was really, the Packer game where we had our kind of, one of our only comebacks other than the Raiders. And, and as Randy Daytona likes to point out, we had to come back against the Rams, but that was in the first half. So it's a little bit different than, late fourth quarter one or third and fourth quarter one. But, there was evidence from the season of how well we had played that we should be playing, that we weren't playing up to our standard. And so that gave me hope. But yeah, I can totally see. I mean, I definitely was not one of those, like, I knew all along, like, no way we were going to lose. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I think anybody who says that, they're just probably, not real in touch with reality of what was happening. Because, yeah, anyway, we can talk more about that real quick. Let's catch up with the chat here. We got Shardal Gupta in the house, newest member of TED Talks Ball. Welcome, Shardal. And thank you for becoming a member. I think this is the second time you've become a member, which is interesting. But hey, as many times as it takes, I'm here for it. I love it. Got Dave McNiner in the house. McNuevo says, let's effing go 49ers. Absolutely. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights in the house. He's a Rams fan, but he's pretty cool, and he has his own channel, so be sure and support him, like and subscribe. It's a good thing to mention. We are streaming to both Aaron and my channels. So TED Talks Ball and 49ers First Takes. So make sure you like and subscribe to both. If you're on my channel, get over to his. If you're on his channel, get over to mine. If you're on a browser, go ahead and open up a second tab and watch both at the same time. I'm kind of doing that here as we speak to follow my own advice so that I'm not saying do as I say, not as I do, but doing as I do.
Yeah, don't be a hypocrite.
Yeah. But those views really help us. And so thanks in advance for everybody who does that. Got Omar S in the house. He says, "What up, Niner faithful?"
What's up, Omar?
We got Raphael 562 in the house. He says,
Was
"What's up,
in
Aaron, Ted, and everyone?" And it wasn't right after, but soon after, he does his usual like and subscribe. So thank you for that. James Dernall coming to us from across the pond says, "Damon Bruce just had Nick wrong on his channel. Two insufferable idiots." I'm not a big Damon Bruce fan, that's for sure. And Nick wrong, you know, he is what he is. He's gonna go down with the ship on this one. He's a Mahomes and a LeBron stan, and he'll always hate Curry and I guess now Brock Purdy, whoever the Bay Area foils to his heroes are. So you can just count on that. Jimmy Perez in the house says, "What's up, Ted and Aaron?" What's up, Jimmy? Thanks for being here. People are saying hi. I'm going to skip that. Smash the like button and subscribe to both channels. Thanks, Jimmy. Red Jet Shell in the house saying, "Hey, chat. What's up, Red Jet? Like and subscribe to both channels." Yes, ma'am. John J, 49ers Ultimate Report. Make sure you check out his channel. Thanks for being here. Did you see Nick Wright? I guess this is the big thing. I guess I'm going to have to check it out just because.
I can't watch either of those guys. I don't like Damon Bruce. I have many reasons. I'm just going to keep it. I'm going to keep it football related today on your channel.
Well, I don't like Damon Bruce for saying don't watch certain content creators for sure. That's Bush League of him to do that. But at the same time, I don't know. The names are big enough. I get drawn in like a moth.
DM me if you want to know why you really don't like him.
Okay, there you go.
I won't say it online because I don't want to get in trouble. So
there you go. Yeah, don't get me in trouble, dude. Whatever you do.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a good boy.
Dude doesn't like Purdy, no doubt about it. Just getting your name right there. Yeah, I hear you.
Trying to grow my playoff beard. It's taking a while.
It's looking pretty good. Mine, everybody's like, "Oh, you got to go T." I'm like, "No, actually, I'm growing it on the sides here too. You just can't see it very well."
I had a lot of acting growing up, so I have a lot of I have a lot of scars on my face. So it takes. I grew mutton chops out for a while, and they were pretty nice. No, it's going to take a while for the sides to match up, but yeah, trying to grow a beard, man.
Nice.
First time in my life, I'm trying to grow a beard.
Love it. It's looking good. Jonathan Santiago coming from Hayward. I think this is the first time. I mean, it's on your channel. It was the first time I've seen him. I don't know if you know him well or not, but welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you for coming through, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Red Jet says Damon Bruce was epic. I mean, see, if he's defending Brock Purdy, then I guess I can just give him a pass temporarily just till the Super Bowl.
Nah.
Nah, there you go.
Nah.
You're a better man than me. I'm weak. All right. We'll find. I'll
Jen, you know I'm a firecracker. You know I'm a little intense when it comes to certain things.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
She knows. I'm a little spicy. I get a little in my feelings sometimes, and I start spewing things from personality.
Tommy Huxley says, "Man, Ted gave up in the first quarter." Well, like I said, I was texting with my neighbor even into the second half, just saying all we got to do is, for D to tighten up and start scoring. That's exactly what happened.
I was so frustrated because, dude, it was like a, hot knife, the old saying, hot knife cutting through butter, right? The old, that's what it was. They had no resistance. None. All I kept tweeting was, and I was a little upset with Brock with the interception, but then you kind of noticed that the pocket was kind of collapsing on him in some of those plays. So it kind of wasn't his fault. He was kind of trying to make a throw with people. He's not a really big tall guy. Yeah. So I didn't really blame him too much. I thought he was pretty solid through the game, but everybody was crappy in the beginning on offense. It wasn't just Brock. Defense just. It's funny, we talked about this stuff on all the streams last week about what is it going to take to beat Detroit. And it was the defense has to find a way to stop the run and get after the passer. And it's exactly what it's I mean, there was just no resistance. They were getting like 10 yards a pop on every run. And then and then they show like some clips of like Chase Young and him not pursuing, and other people like jogging and not and waiting for other people to make the play. I was talking to my brother about that all year. I was like, the Niners this year don't have that like everybody run to the ball defense. It's more like hoping somebody makes a play instead of you being the one, and it was just it was frustrating to watch. All my tweets were pretty much like, yeah, the 3rd and 18. Like, how do you give up a 3rd and 18 on defense? That's just, I don't know, man. I can't even articulate how frustrated I was, but I was pretty pissed.
I was on to Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? I think the 3rd and 18. Yeah. Gibbs had us on skates in the first half. Real quick, just want to say hi to obviously Load the Truth is here.
Don't be shy. Say hi.
Above said what's good. But above that, we had VZ408. I think it might be first time audience member. If not, my apologies. But good to see you.
I've seen VZ on my channel before.
Okay, got it.
Thank you for coming through. Appreciate it.
There you go. And then Young Dick Dong, we know him very well.
Hey, best name on YouTube. Best name on YouTube. Good.
Right is wrong. I think Damon is wrong and right is wronger. Even though that's not proper English.
How about Damon is a douche and Wright is a weasel? How about that?
Oh, a douche weasel.
It was a douche weasel. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
see what happened? You talk about something long enough and the real me comes out. See, I couldn't help myself.
No, I like it. It's good. Get out those fangs.
Red Jet is trying to. She's trying to
stir it up.
Hey, Red Jet, if you like him and you'd like listening to him, I have no issue. None. Just personally am just like no bueno.
There you go. VZ wants to know if the ladybug is traveling with the team.
Yeah, did they capture? Was there like a nest? Like somebody was like, do they have an infestation at Levi's or something?
Seriously, because the Gold Rush spotted one during the post-game ceremony on the rail in front of them. I'm going to go out on a limb and say there will be no ladybugs inside of the dome in Vegas. I don't know how they get in. Ladybug tickets are probably a little less than $8,000, but they'd still be pretty expensive. And my buddy was looking up seats while we were watching the game. He's a season ticket holder, and he thinks he has an inside track on the lottery, but it's nothing sure. So he went ahead and bought an $8,000 seat, and then he paid a $2,000 service fee to Ticketmaster on top of the $8,000 seat. So it's well over $10,000 out the door.
Got Paul Hope in the house. He's just popping in real quick.
There we go. Let's pop down.
I'm working on something with him tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern, people. So
there you go. Well, it's 11.
I'm not trying to use. I don't usually promote on other people's shows or our shows.
Yeah, but we do. We talk about what's going on.
That's true. We do.
Beginning and the end, it's all fair game.
I guess no. It's like if other people come in and post some stuff about.
Oh yeah, that I don't like.
Yeah, that's crappy. But permission. Yeah, me and Paul are
one person in particular. Some people I don't mind as much as others.
Can't wait, Paul. It's gonna be great. I'll send you the topics soon.
There you go. Yeah, it's getting late over there. It's 11:48 GMT.
They had some monster people watching their stream today. There were 60 plus. Oh, yeah. They were killing it today.
Good job. Faithful UK. Way to go.
They were smacking.
So let's see here. We got Rick Diaz in the house. Welcome, Rick. Bryant Culp in the house.
What's up, my man? BC, always.
Make sure you check out Bryant's channel and his wife, Tony. They do great stuff.
Our Coast to Coast show got preempted by technical difficulties. So I don't know how we're going to do next Monday, if it's going to be back on Ty's channel or I don't know. We'll see. They were like, you get Super Bowl week. I'm like, man, if we lose and it's on my channel, people are going to be, you thought I had a mass exodus of subs in 2019, 2020. Dude, I'll lose like half my viewer base, which ain't that huge to begin with. I have a lot of subs, but I don't have a ton of like live viewers. They'd be like, screw this guy.
There you go. Red Jet's showing some love.
Thank you, Red Jet. You are the best.
Thanks. The claws. Yeah, I'm a little behind.
I'm less of a cat. I'm more of a bear.
Look at this. My first ever super chat from Tommy Huxley.
Tommy Huxley. What's up, my man?
Fairy Godmother Ted. Can we beat the Queefs? Well,
yeah, he went right in on that one. There wasn't any.
We'll get to that. We're not going to dive right in on that right this second. But, I'll just say the line right now is we're favored by 2.
Really?
We'll talk. Yeah, it opened up with 1.5. It dropped to 1. It went back to 1.5, and now it's up to 2. So we'll talk more about that in a minute. BC wants the real Aaron. Will the real Aaron Lavigan please stand up? Slim Shady was not happy at the game. Ooh, I saw him arguing with some fans.
I like Eminem, but he was being like a turd. He was flipping off everybody. There was some stuff going on. People were talking in those seats.
I quote tweeted that they're showing him arguing with Niners fans, and I quote tweeted it saying that the Lions lost themselves in a few key moments during the game. To quote his, lose yourself in the moment. They did. We'll get to all that too. Rick likes your t-shirt. Excellent.
I have a lot of new I just got guys, I'm not promoting them because they don't give me a sponsor, but what is it? The Fresh Clean Threads or forget the name of the t-shirts. They're real nice for a big guy like myself.
Okay. Not the homage ones that Raj was doing. No. Okay. Fresh Clean. Bebop in the house.
Bebop.
Bang Bang Niner Gang. Coming to us from Bethlehem, PA.
Oh, I got a Northeastern guy over here.
Yeah.
Bebop, I never knew you were in that part of the country.
Eastern PA, too. He's not the Western part. So
I went through PA to go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame about 22 years ago.
Yeah. Well, you're nice. There you go. Shout out to the Lions, DB Kendall Vilder, for looking back just in time. So, did you think that was PI on Vildor?
I wasn't even paying attention to it.
It's in my banner of my.
It's not. Listen.
Of my X profile.
I was on the edge of my seat. I saw the pass get tipped. I'm like, oh God. And once Ayuk caught the tip, I could care less if it was or if it wasn't. I mean, there was contact. Listen, man. There's skill. There's teams. They're really good and they play well. And luck always has its way in sports. It just does.
I was definitely luck.
You got to win with a little luck sometimes. We've had it for this year for the most part.
But I don't think it was luck that Vildor was in that position. I feel like Ayuk ran into him. He has the right to his position if his head's turned back, which it was. I get all that. But then there's a frame in my banner, if you look at it, where Vildor has like he's behind Ayuk and one of his arms is on his shoulder. And he's like hugging him, and then he clearly pushes off to like get ahead of him to get to where the ball's going. And so like, to me, it's like, yeah, you can establish your position, but you can't hug and you can't push off. And so I don't know. It's just because people are like, oh, Purdy's best throw, we threw it to the DB. And I'm like, no, he threw it to where Ayuk would have been if the DB didn't interfere with him. And so, like, that's why I'm, you're right. Like, as far as the play goes, we got the catch. That's all that matters. But as far as Purdy goes, a lot of people are vilifying him on the throw for, like Nick Wrong is one of the people. I saw his clip. Oh, yeah, Zipper's best throw was to the DB off his DB's face, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so that's why I've been kind of.
I can't talk about Nick right, because I get violent thoughts in my head.
Uh-oh. All right, we'll skip. So we already said hi to Mr. Hope. Everybody picking the Queefs to win. I don't know. Clearly not, though, man. I mean, Vegas isn't. It sounds like Aaron isn't. I guess I'll cheat ahead. I'm not picking the Chiefs.
I think the Niners offensively are a better team than they were in 2019. and it just happens to be in connection with the, and happens to be in a year where the defense hasn't been as great. So, I mean, if this is a Jimmy team and we're going into the Super Bowl, I don't see us even having we wouldn't, but I actually think there is a chance to get in there and win that
because
game.
Everybody likes to talk about how Andy Reid owns Kyle because he's 3-0, but that was against Jimmy G. Jimmy G ACL, Jimmy G eyes closed interception. Also, Jimmy G getting helmet to helmet uncalled, and Bosa held uncalled on 3rd and 15 jet chip wasp. So the Jimmy G, against Mahomes and the refs. And then obviously 2022, where we were the walking wounded. CMC had just joined the team. He didn't know any of the plays yet. So Andy Reid is 0 for 0 against Kyle with Brock as our quarterback, our starting quarterback. Technically, Brock came in at garbage time of that last Chiefs game, but I'm not counting that either. Red Jet says total cost to go to Super Bowl as much as a 2023 car with 10K miles on it. LOL. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. That's for sure. Someone was talking about how an ad is 800K, and it's also what are they? Anyway, I get it mixed up, and they were saying that you could also get a box, a luxury suite, for around that amount. I think it's more than that, though. I think it's a couple million, over $1 million. Bebop saying in it to win it. There we go. Rick doesn't like KC. He doesn't like Taylor's Tay Swift.
Listen, if America wants to jump on anything, if you really don't mind having them look to the booth every time Kansas City does something good, then I guess I just think it would be a fantastic, way to end all that stuff would be to find the 49ers finding a way to, at least for this year, end the Swifties and Kelsey, thing that's going on where every time Kansas City scores or Kansas City gets a first down or, somebody farts, it's like, oh, let's zoom to the booth. I wonder what's going on. Oh, look, it's Taylor Swift and some random people, and there's Patrick Mahomes' wife looking goofy. They're doing spin around high fives and dances and stuff, and it's such a put off for hardcore football fans. For people that like her and like her music, the Swifties, they must be just like peeing in their pajamas, like, oh my God, they're looking at her again. So
she's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, she's pretty talented. She's.
What do you think she'll call the breakup song from this one?
Golden Heartbreak or something. I don't
know. Low, the truth wants to know if we think Snead is going to shadow Ayuk.
I'm not sure.
I think so.
Paul Hope is in the chat down at the bottom. I know you're kind of behind, but
yeah, always.
Paul Hope says, Aaron, I've banned my girls from listening to her for 2 weeks. I didn't know you had 2 daughters. Well, you're not going to be a very popular dad for the next couple weeks, but there's a big picture in mind. You got to explain your daughters the big picture here. We're trying to win a championship.
We all have to do our part. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's not like this is like a once in a lifetime thing. They're gonna. You can have her, 364 days a year for one day, just one day. Everybody not be a fan of Taylor Swift, please.
$20K coming from the UK. I mean, the $10K was just for the ticket, though, for my buddy. That doesn't include plane flights or the the house that they rented. Luckily, he rented the house a while ago in anticipation, so he's not part of this rush that's going to try and get places now. But those tickets, plane tickets, are not cheap. It's crazy how expensive it is to fly from San Francisco to LA or San Francisco to Vegas anymore. You would think they were halfway across the country with what these plane flights cost now. All right, let's scoop back up a little bit. People are saying hi. M&M with peanuts. Golden Gate Bridge from Bethlehem, PA. Exactly. Amenahu being injured.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to affect the line.
No.
But it's it's noticeable. I think Karlaftis is their best edge. But Amenahu's solid, as we all know. So, real quick, wanted to get Charles Drake. He always is coming in here giving Aaron grief because Aaron hates Kansas City, and now it's appropriate.
Charles,
he's been doing this all season, though.
Charles has been doing this for a couple of years now.
He's a one-trick pony.
And he's a one-trick. I love Charles, and I love my buddy Steve, who's not here right now, but they know I am still crushed over that Super Bowl loss. And the only way to get over it, listen, they win this Super Bowl, I'm over 2019. I'm totally over it. Like, I don't care because they got another shot. You know what I mean? So to me, Ted, it really comes down to one thing. The defense. Can they be of any resistance at all against a not super powerful Kansas City offense? Like, this offense isn't star-studded, man. It's pretty much Kelsey and Pacheco, right?
Kelsey, Pacheco,
maybe
Rice has come on, and somehow Marquez Valdez-Scantling has started catching balls in the last two games against the Bills and the Ravens, like ones that ice the game, like meaningful catches. So he's always been a deep threat, but one you didn't have to take too seriously because he always dropped everything. But hopefully he goes back to his old ways against us. One thing is like Pacheco is not as good as, certainly not as the Lions combo of, Monty and Gibbs running backs, but he's good. And Pacheco has a huge advantage in that, the Lions O-line's better than the Chiefs O-line, but the Chiefs have Mahomes, who is a threat to throw deep, and he's a threat to run. As we all know, that takes two guys out of the box, takes a safety back, and a spy, turns one of the guys left in the box into a spy who can't really guard anybody else.
Are you going into this game running a mush rush and not really rushing upfield, more or less giving him? I mean, he's good. He can throw from the pocket. He could throw from the sideline. He could throw from his ass. He could throw looking backwards. He can do it all. Mahomes. Yeah. He's the best quarterback.
Same way as Hurts, same way as Lamar. Yeah, absolutely. Same way as any mobile QB. Kyler.
The defensive line to me is the biggest disappointment this second half of the year. But they were kind of a disappointment early on in the season too, before Chase Young. You got Hargrave, who was supposed to be this huge upgrade, right? He's going to take over Javon Kinlaw. And he really, other than like a game or two, can you really think of anything Kinlaw's done on a consistent basis that made this defensive line just unstoppable? Armstead's been nicked. Chase Young is, he's a low effort kind of guy. He doesn't really have a ton of pass rush moves. I was all over him when he first got there. I'm like, I can't believe we made this move. It's going to be a difference. And it did in the Jaguars game. It was like, oh, we had 3 games with 5 sacks or more. And then it just all kind of, it's reduced back to pretty much pre-trade deadline defensive line. That's the key to, it's the key to the game. They have to play better. They have to stop the run. And they have to get, even if you're not sacking Mahomes, I always tell my brother, if you're knocking somebody on their ass constantly, you know what I mean? Hitting them, rattling them just a little bit, it helps. If you're having him stand back with a clean pocket, with nothing in his face, with a ton of time to throw, Mahomes is going to gouge you. Kelsey's going to gouge you. So to me, the biggest storyline in this game is the Niners defense. I think the Niners offense, and they might struggle a little bit because they have a really good defensive coordinator in Spagnuolo with the Chiefs. But I think the Niners have just a ton of weapons. And I think Kyle will do enough game planning to try to negate as much as what Spagnuolo does. But it's really the defense, man. If the Niners don't come into this game with any weight in their ass and they just get pushed around, I don't think we have a shot, to be honest with you. Regardless, because how much do you got to score? Is it going to be like last year's Super Bowl where it's essentially a shootout? Like, I don't want that. Do you want a shootout Super Bowl?
Yeah, sure.
You're just as long as we win, right?
Yep. No, well, and I don't think, we've scored over 30 points 11 times this season, and the Chiefs have only done it 3 times. So I don't know that they have the firepower to go in a shootout with us. I mean, we're the number 1 offense, TVO. It's so weird, the differences between the Super Bowl and last time, where last time they were the number 1 offense. Their defense was suspect. Now we both have good defenses, and their offense has fallen off quite a bit. So, I mean, all things equal, don't bet against Patrick Mahomes, I would say, but all things are not equal. And I don't think it'll be a shootout because I think the way we're going to beat them is by running. I think they're a little bit sus on the run defense, especially lately. Donaldo Trumpez in the house.
Mm-hmm.
NFL loves to make favorites. We should clearly be the underdog in the Super Bowl. So I guess he's a Niners fan. NFL scripting and Taylor and Chiefs for desperate Democrats, Black National Anthem, and Mahomes' rigged win. Well, here's the thing, Donaldo. The line isn't set by the NFL. The line is set by Vegas to start, and then it's influenced by bettors. Unless you think the NFL is actually betting money on the Niners to get the line up. I guess stranger things they could be, I guess. I don't know. Unless you're on the inside, you're on the outside, and I'm definitely on the outside on that, so I'm not going to pretend to know. I tend to think not, but I guess stranger things have happened. Let's see here, and I like to try and stay out of politics in general, but he's a new member, and I saw a tweet about that.
Thinking the same thing during the game, during the celebration at the end. I'm watching the celebration, and I'm like, I hope to God if we get like an interception or a touchdown that that bit us in the ass. He says, I swear to God, if I see celebrating in the end zone like we did in Super Bowl 54, I've got to seriously question the leadership in that locker room. Take this game more serious than a heart attack. Yeah, 100%.
Well, that was when the refs turned against us for sure. Right after that. So talk about momentum. We had it.
10, we had a 10-point lead with 7 minutes to go, and that was it. That's okay if you're not a Taylor Swift fan. That's totally fine. Not a lot of people are. I take that back. I'm not. So
I used to be, but not anymore. Definitely not this week.
Peter Lee says Shanny's offense struggles against Spagnuolo's defense. Check Shanny's history in this offense of his offense against Spagnuolo. Well, there's always a chance. Did they have Christian McCaffrey in any of those games?
We did. In 2022, but we also had Jimmy as our quarterback, and McGlinchey had a strained calf, and
they had a bunch of guys hurt on defense too.
Yeah, hurt on defense or out. Armstead was out completely. Jimmy Ward was playing with a club, and it was his first game of the season. He was, after that game is when our defense took off because we got Armstead back, and Jimmy Ward got the club off shortly after that. That's when our defense.
Didn't Javarius Ward have a groin issue too?
Pulled groin. Both had a pulled groin. Dre Greenlaw left early in the second quarter, so he missed most of the second quarter and the entire second half. I think
about people.
I think Debo might have been coming back from something too. There were quite a few people that were dinged up and playing hurt. Oh, Trent Williams came back early from a high ankle sprain because it was the Chiefs. So yeah, we were far from. Both tackles were dinged up in that game. Kenny loves share. Oh boy, here we go.
Oh, that's a random turn.
Let's reckon Niners. Oh boy, wow, that's brutal. You gotta tell her to kick that guy to the curb, man.
Yeah. You might need to intervene on that one, Paul. Be like, listen, I don't approve of this.
I thought Brent Culp was gonna say that Taylor Swift is nice, because usually when we're bagging on somebody, he comes in. Well,
they don't actually show Taylor on TV as much as it seems. I have no idea what you're talking about. I
She
guess
seems
for
to be on
my
their cut of
taste,
it.
it's too much. You might actually be right, but I just am like, why? Why? Nobody cares.
Yeah. Sentinel, how many rings did Reed have before Mahomes? 0. Yeah. And I said that Andy Reid was Kyle before he got Mahomes. So maybe
Andy Reid, they couldn't win. How
Brock
many
can be
NFC
Kyle's
Championship games did they
Mahomes.
go to in a row before they got to the Super Bowl? Like 4, 3 or 4.
Andy Reid went to like 1 Super Bowl, but like 4 NFC Championship games
Nah. Oh,
for the Eagles, and
there's,
some for the Chiefs too.
there's always a first time for everything, people. Always a first time, because like you said, Andy Reid for the longest time was thought of as a joke artist. Am I right?
Yeah.
And then he gets the greatest quarterback probably of this current generation. You can't listen. You can't plan that. That just happens. You draft a guy and he just happens to be one of the best of all time. Like everybody wants to replicate things and try to figure out how the Chiefs did it. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL probably in the last 20 years. That's why. That's it.
So Bryant with a really hot take here. He says he'd rather look at Taylor Swift than Jerry Jones. That's
Fair.
really hot. That's
fair. I don't know if your wife will approve of that, but a fair. I guess so.
He's getting in trouble.
It takes a choker to beat a choker. I don't know. Are we still talking about football? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, pause. You see what happens when we were injured on the line. Yeah, no doubt about it.
One thing about this game that we got to talk about is the fact that Chris Jones, man, he seemed pretty gimpy in that AFC Championship game. He was getting hurt.
Did he really? I barely watched, and when I was watching, it was on silent because I was at my son's birthday. His friend birthday was Sunday morning, and so Sunday 11, and the game was on at 12. So I watched most of the beginning on my phone, and then when I could have watched more on the TV, I actually went and looked at a bike to ride around to try and chase him around on the pump tracks. But I didn't know that Chris Jones got dinged up.
He was having some problems in that game. So
Send Cal in the house. Welcome. He says, I can't stand Kermit, aka Patrick Mahomes girl.
Coming from a guy that has a kind of a froggy voice, I 100% stand by that statement.
Yours is not nearly as annoying. Yours isn't annoying at all, in fact. Anything better than Andy Reid and the ice mustache.
He has my dad. I have a soft spot for Andy Reid because he reminds me of my dad. Heavy set guy. He's got that, mustache. Yeah. It's kind of white now.
Yeah.
But before my dad passed away, that's what his mustache looked like. So I'm like, as much as I hate the Chiefs as far as them beating us, gotta love the big fat guy, Like I have a lot of love for Andy Reid, but that's, it'll be suspended for on Super Bowl Sunday for sure.
There you go. Lowe thinks Mooney can handle Rice. I think Mooney can. I think Lenore can. The big question is,
it's the pass rush, man.
Can Ambry? And is Ambry okay? Didn't he twist his ankle? I saw the depth chart came out, and I don't know if it's official or unofficial or whatnot, but it was posted by somebody big. I think it was, let me see who. I want to say Nick Wagner or no, maybe even. Well, anyways, one of the big reporters posted it. It'll take me a second to pull it up. It was Cam Inman posted it. And two notable people on the depth chart, nickel corner, Isaiah Oliver. I was like, hell effing no. Please never see him again in the Niners uniform. And Spencer Burford at right guard. So it makes me think it's probably not official. I can't imagine that they've benched Feliciano.
Why would you bet? Yeah, Feliciano is loads better than Burford at guard.
I think so too. I mean,
and he doesn't commit penalties every single game. Like you could set your watch to a Burford hold.
And Feliciano came and he pulled, he pulled Brock up when they were going after him on the ground. After he ran one, and they're getting the extracurriculars in, and Feliciano went in and kind of sort of broke it up and pulled him up. Unlike McGlinchey, who never lifted up any of our quarterbacks off the ground. Now, maybe it's because he's too tall. I don't know. I'll give him maybe the benefit of the doubt, but makes me happy when
there was some serious cheap shots getting put on Brock in that game.
Yeah, I mean, I did a show yesterday with Ryan from No Border Sports, our No BS TED show, and I titled it like "Lions Take Biting Kneecaps to Heart," and then ... again, because if you recall, I called it out after the Rams game. And it's bad if I'm defending the Rams, right?
It's even worse when you're defending Purdy. No, I'm just kidding.
But you know what I mean? It's like, if it's bad enough for me to defend our division rivals, it's bad because they went after Puka helmet to helmet, Kyron helmet to helmet, Stafford helmet to helmet. Then Kirby Joseph took out Higbee's ACL the same way he had just taken out Hawkinson's ACL with a handful of games before. Both tight ends going over the middle in a very similar fashion. And then even at the end of the game, there was an uncalled pass interference on Puka, and the guy was pulling him to the ground after he had held him with the ball in the air. And the second guy came in headhunting. If he hadn't let go of the ball, I have zero doubts that guy would have taken his head clean off. So it was not surprising to see. Well, do you want to call? I mean, we can call out the ones that we saw. I saw.
There was the one on the ground. There was the one on the ground. He was
laying there on the ground.
He kind of busted, he gave him a bloody lip.
Yeah, it was James Houston, a defensive end that I called out, that a Lions content creator had called out to me, who was a potential X factor for the game because he was a bookend edge to go across from Hutchinson. And yeah, he came in late and he went helmet to helmet against Purdy when Purdy was already down on the ground. There was obviously the CJ Gardner-Johnson cheap shot to Debo's bad shoulder when he was, sucker punched him essentially when Debo wasn't looking. And then the third one was a double whammy on this one. Purdy's longest run of the game. He goes down head first, but he had already been touched. So even though,
that kind of dropped on him.
You're not protected going on head first. You're down if somebody touched you as you're going down. Here comes big old 93, runs and jumps on him and slides off. And then here comes Brian Branch, the nickel corner, and he jumps up in the air and he puts his cleat right into Purdy's kneecap, stomps him as he's going over. And that's why Purdy's kneecap was, just shredded and bloody because, and then, so those were just blatant. If anybody tries to argue those aren't dirty, I'm just like, you're a blind or a homer or whatever hater. But then
if it's after the play, it's dirty.
Even the CMC one, that Lion kind of lifted him up and let him go. He didn't suplex him. He didn't jam him into the ground, but he dropped him in a way that it was clear that Purdy CMC was going to hit his head if he didn't let go of the ball because his arms were holding the ball with two hands to make sure he didn't fumble. And of course, CMC didn't let go of the ball and he landed on his neck. That one, is not as blatant. I'm sure there would be people who would argue with me about that one, but yeah, no, I mean, it just sucks. That's not football. That's not what we want to see. Nobody wants to see somebody get injured by dirty play. I don't want to see people get injured, period, but certainly not by dirty play.
I don't like that. I never have felt good about anybody getting hurt because people could always use that as an excuse. I like everything to be equal. Just so if you win, and there's no excuses. You were the better team that day. But you know just as well as I do. There was a freaking bounty gate going on in 2011 for the Saints, where people were getting paid to injure people. So it's still just because they don't talk about it doesn't mean something like that doesn't exist. Still, it for sure does. Incentives hey, if you break somebody's leg.
I have no doubt that Dan Campbell's been doing that. Or even if it wasn't an overt, I'll pay you X for this kind of injury, blah, blah, blah. Just the saying the biting the kneecap stuff. They're like, oh yeah, I know what you want, coach. You don't have to tell me directly. I got your message loud and clear, man. Because it's clear. I mean, there was another one against the Bucks too, where they hit their running back helmet to helmet, and his helmet hit the ground real hard on the AstroTurf. And the announcers were like, oh, that's a hard hit. I'm like, no, that's an illegal hit. That was crown of the helmet, to helmet. Niner says the Swifties defense is their best unit. Our offense is our best unit, but who has the better kicker? Oh, well, Butker's way better than Moody. I mean, that's not even close.
Moody's a liability.
Moody is, although he was, he did make the two last ones in the game. But yeah, the one before half was deflating as all get out. But hopefully he got some confidence from the last two. Gibbs and Montgomery are the toughest running backs we've faced in the playoffs. Yeah, no, the Lions' run game was no joke. Neither is their O-line. And Gibbs and Montgomery together were basically CMC. If you add up their stats, it's very comparable to what CMC did this season.
I said this to my brother watching the game. I said, the Niners lose this game, and even if they win, I said, as far as the Niners defense, I think they need to invest. They have 11 picks going into the draft, right? So they need to invest in a defensive tackle or two. I'm talking big guys, space eaters. The Niners need to invest in that big time, and they need to find a rush end because I don't think Chase Young should be kept, or I don't believe he should be kept, and I don't think he should be kept because he was the third choice, like you said. It was Brian Burns was probably choice number one, or Montez Sweat. Brian Burns number two, and Chase Young was number three, and now we're seeing why he's choice number three. You know what I'm saying? He's lazy. He's not real skilled as a rusher. He has like one move, and he doesn't set the edge in the run game. He's constantly out of position in the run game. He's so far upfield. You know what I mean? It's egregious. And there's this fake Twitter account that keeps saying that he's being benched and he should be benched. I think a lot of people thought that was real, but at the same time, I'm like, maybe he should be benched for the Super Bowl.
No, it was not real. I can't believe the first guy to repost that did it.
Yeah, that was just a random person posting that, but it's just insane.
Yeah, and then a bunch of people publicized it. Paul says, in fairness, I didn't listen to Eminem this week. That's what I told my girls.
Jupiter is in here, and she.
All right.
She first she says, I'm the spring chicken that can't wait for spring. And then she says, I told Aaron the 49ers are making a comeback. She did. She called me. They were down. Really depressed. She kept saying, it's okay. They're going to come back. I don't know. She's like, it's okay. They're going to come back. I'm like, I don't know. And then in the process of being on the phone with her, I think they scored. And then they tied the game, and I told her, I said, you're a good luck charm. So, like, man. Yeah, it was the first one. Was the first one. When did the fumble happen? Was that before the deep pass drive?
Yeah. The fumble was the first drive after we kicked the field goal.
Okay.
And then
we had the fourth down stop.
Or wait, maybe not. No. The deep pass to Ayuk got us to within 7, and then the fumble got us to even. I think, if I recall correctly. A lot of folks in the chat trying to catch up. Real quick, I want to just address the D-line stuff because the last couple weeks I've been saying that the D-line was overpaid and overrated. But
yes, you're right. They are.
Well, they did a little better against the Lions, at least in the second half. Like Bosa came up with the big sacks. Kinlaw, who you were talking about, he was the one who messed up their 4th and 3. He got pressure on Goff and made a move. And then you know how Goff is once he's pressured. He's pretty,
Bosa's slant, that was beautiful. Bosa's like, get on the ground.
Yeah.
Bosa's a big, tough guy. If he tries to tackle Mahomes like that, like twist him off, and he's going to stay upright. You know it.
And there's a comment about missing Clelin Ferrell to set the edge. I agree.
Yeah.
Chase Young did give up the edge a lot, but Chase Young did have 2 or 3 really nice plays too, run stuffs.
Did you catch the end of the game when they interviewed Wilkes after the ceremony? And he was saying like their defense is gonna get right.
Yeah,
he's gonna make sure that
tighten up the fits, stack the box a little more. I mean, you can't stack it totally against.
Are you going man to man against the Chiefs?
No, you can't, because then Patrick will run all over you. but zone is tough too, and you can't really blitz them. It's tough. It's tough for sure. I will say the only D lineman who I think still hasn't shown up. I was pretty happy with everyone. Maybe not early in the game, but eventually in the game, like as a whole.
Armstead?
No. Well, maybe, but I was thinking Hargrave. I just
yeah. Where is this defensive tackle we paid all this money for?
Armstead usually doesn't show up anyway. You know, like he's just silently in there. You just know he's helping a lot. But Hargrave is the one who really just I felt like. In fact, early in the game, he wasn't even in the game. Like it was
Sebastian Joseph Day. Oh,
yeah, and Kinlaw was in there with Bosa and Armstead and Chase Young. Early in the game. Later in the game, Hargrave was in there. So we did do better when he was in there later, but like I didn't see him do anything himself. Let's see here. I'm kind of lost in the chat here. I'm trying to get back.
I thought you were saying you were lost in my eyes.
I like mad about you. Tommy Huxley Gibbs gave a 7. He said, or did Gip cause it? Gip definitely caused it. He had a few great plays in that game.
And that is just for people to say momentum doesn't exist. Does.
Apparently we scouted Gibbs as a fumbler. Like that was the word in the locker room was he can be had. And it's weird because I had one of my Lions people on from last week, Right or Wrong, Anthony Ryder 5, came on again today as a recap. He was saying that was Gibbs' first fumble of the season. So I don't know. Maybe it must have been from college that they saw fumbling tendencies. And that's where the scouting came from. Because I was just thought of that because I was like, otherwise, how do you scout a guy who hasn't fumbled all season as a fumbler? I don't know. Or maybe they just saw him hold the ball out and like, oh, he's prone to it, even if it hasn't happened. I don't know.
My lady is in the chat. She says she's lost in my eyes.
Oh, hey now.
Hey now. Oh.
Is that steam on your screen? So let's see. There's some folks. Let me see. They need to wear red gloves. The difference between 2019 Super Bowl, Niners are healthy and better team. KC is not. Yeah, here's the thing.
Better offense. I don't
think like everybody talking about how KC is, should be favored or like the NFL is rigging it so the Niners are favored. I figured out what I'm going to call bull FNS on that. You know what it is? Kansas City Chiefs fans are the most obnoxious, awful, front running, just like we're the best. I haven't heard a thing from one of them so far yet. And that could change between now and the Super Bowl. But I'm telling you, to me, that says they're scared. They're afraid of talking. They're afraid of receipts. And maybe that'll change. I don't know. Maybe it's going on. I just haven't seen it. I don't know. But,
Niners offense has to come and play in this game. Me and Jared were talking about it, and I said that he's like, you guys have to be aggressive. You cannot be conservative in this game. You got to score. Jared, my brother's like, don't defer. Take the ball, go and score. Don't defer. Kyle will defer, but I'm saying like he
always defers. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't. Playing with fear is one of the reasons. Kyle he does coach scared. We all know it. We've all seen it. You know what I mean? Like he'll have those drives before the half where he doesn't know whether he's going to run clock or score. And then we get a play that gets us close, but then we can't score because too much time ran out. You know what I mean? Like it, you know what I mean? Like there's like, what are you going to be? Are you going to just let it all hang out and say like, we're trying to get revenge on these guys and go there and, be offensively? I mean, we have so many weapons on offense. We have more skill on offense. They have the best quarterback in the NFL. You can give them that. Listen, Kelsey's future ballot first team he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt in my mind. Kelsey to me is one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Say what you want about him, but the dude is just legit. Okay. He might not be a great blocker like Kittle. And I think Kittle if he can put up some more yards and some more numbers in the next couple of years, I think Kittle will be a Hall of Fame tight end too. But they have a Hall of Fame coach and they have a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like the Niners have none of that. They have a really good offense, and it's to me, it comes down to the offense because I think the defense is going to screw around in this game probably for the first half like they've done in the last 2 games. There's nothing that I've seen from this defense that makes me think they're going to come out and play any different against Kansas City. They talk about it, where it's one guy messing up or it's one guy who's not doing his job or whatever. And it's like, okay, but you're all really high paid at the top of your sport, and yet you can't figure out a way to stop the run or get pressure on the quarterback until the second half of the last 2 games. That's someone's like, well, we did it before, we can go and do it again. Like, you go into the Super Bowl with that kind of attitude against the Chiefs and you're going to get your ass blown out. You know what I mean? Like, no.
Speaking of getting your ass blown out, I have to get a colonoscopy again.
Yeah. I haven't gotten my first. You're already getting another one. Hey-o.
Hey, yeah. When you're 50, you have to get one. And then they found polyps, which were benign, but because there were several, they said you need to come back in 3 years instead of like 5 or 10 or whatever the normal cadence is. So,
well,
I got the accelerated plan. I will say, like, the actual procedure is no big deal. They knock you out. So
as long as I get put to sleep, you can do whatever you want. Just
yeah,
I don't want to be awake.
Didn't bother me a bit. The part that's brutal is like fasting for like a day and a half before. I was like dying of hunger. So it was awful.
I need to fast. I need to lose weight. People are like, don't do it that way. I'm like, why not? I got enough reserves. I could feed off myself for a couple of weeks.
Luke Walsh was saying headshots to Purdy have not been called enough. I don't think they were called
because
at all.
He's not. It's funny. My brother goes, they don't call
the
it
same
because
thing for Jimmy G.
He's not. He said he's not Mahomes.
Yep.
And he's not Josh Allen.
Yep.
Same thing happens to those
not
quarterbacks.
Rodgers gets that kind of treatment too. Brady used to.
My brother said another thing. He goes, no, the reason why they don't throw the flag, he goes, because your quarterback doesn't bitch and moan. Purdy doesn't complain.
Right.
You never see Purdy get up and look around for flags like Mahomes does or Allen. One of the biggest quarterbacks in the NFL physically, and he's a crybaby always looking for flags. I absolutely get so vexed watching football games when you have a 6'5" quarterback who's 235 pounds looking around for flags when he's running like a running back, right? And then you have Purdy, who looks like he should be like a junior in high school, who's in charge of like the book club, or I don't know, something, the chess club in high school. Yeah. And he doesn't complain. And yet people are taking, shots at his body. They're stepping on him, whatever, man. So
Tommy says you aren't 50. You're right, Tommy. I'm 53, just like I said. 1970.
I turned 50 in
You're the dog.
6 years.
There you go. And Low, the truth, like that CMC stiff arm on Big Mouth CJ Gardner. It's classic.
Oh, we got James Dernal is in here. Jupes is in the chat. Not Jupes. Well, yes, she is in the chat. Jess is in the chat, and she says, Super Bowl, I will be in Vegas.
Oh.
Yes, you are a beast.
There you go.
Save me a seat, I'll be there.
Be at the hotel where the team's staying.
Of course she is. She's going to get all the pictures and all the... Jess, I'm jealous, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I have fun. I hope you have fun. I hope they win. I hope
Selfie ninja.
Yeah. She gets selfies with everybody.
Randy says he's a
I think if you're not a creep, because I saw somebody on their own YouTube page trying to creepily walk up to Brian Young and bother him during like a day where they were like retiring his jersey or ceremony. And it is like the most cringe-worthy thing, like, hey, Brian Young, hey, Brian Young, hey, Brian Young. And it's like, and they're recording themselves doing it. And it's like the most, like, are you serious?
Yeah, you just got to wait till you get the picture ready. Randy says he fasts 21 hours every day. Wow, you must just eat nonstop for the other 3 hours, just like shoveling food in your face. Hurry, put him to sleep. Is that Aaron you're saying? Jupe?
I'm not getting my anus Colin.
Okay. Oh, she's saying put you out. Hey.
Hey now. Hey now. Hey now.
Oh, hey.
We got to get some of those Howard Stern. Hey now. Hey now. Baba Booey.
James Bernal says a slow start might be a blessing in disguise. Casey hasn't given up more than 10 points in the second half since week 11. Yeah, and especially fourth quarters. I think they've been only given up like 3 points in the whole playoffs in the fourth quarter. So, but they haven't played the number one offense in the fourth quarter yet either. So, see, I'm kind of going upwards. Oh, the pancake was epic. Yeah, there was a video of that, and I quote tweeted it, and I said, "Casuals, Kittle did nothing in the game." I said, "Me." Show that video of Kittle pancaking Hutch. It was awesome.
I love Kittle.
He had a big
I
catch.
freaking love Kittle. Did you see that Juszczyk, his wife, she's now going to be working with the NFL?
Officially licensed.
I'm going to have to get one of those jackets.
And she, on her cuffs, she like had it where she pulled up her cuff and it said, going to the Super Bowl under there on that long coat that she wore to the NFC Championship game. So she had that already planned out. That's pretty cool.
I feel like it's kind of like we were destined to win when you see the fact that Joe Montana, as much as I crap on him for doing everything for money in his later life, the GOAT until Brady won all those Super Bowls, he was there, and it was just like Montana's whole thing was, as long as there's still time, he always believed he could come back, right?
Yeah.
And Joe, the GOAT, in my eyes, he's still a GOAT because I have some issues with Tom Brady, but I'll give Tom Brady.
Same.
Joe's still my GOAT.
But he never came back from 17 down in an NFC Championship game.
No, because the Niners either got blown out or they won, and they're they had like they lost. Well, not that they get it's not they get blown out. They got blown out in '86
when he got injured,
as he got knocked out of that game. But they weren't going to win that game anyways. But yeah, to me, it's my brother's like, you just got to come out. You got to come out aggressive in the Super Bowl, man. Take it to him. Stop being passive aggressive weenies and always have to have some sort of dramatic comeback where you got to be down a bunch of points. Like, just freaking go in there. You have enough skill. There's enough players on this team. We talk about Kansas City's defense and what they've done, but they haven't faced Christian McCaffrey on the 49ers. I think McCaffrey is going to have a huge game in the Super Bowl. I'm going to book it. McCaffrey's going to have a huge game. So
yeah, I think so.
As long as he doesn't get hurt.
Oh yeah, I mean, Akash Abernathan posted up a tweet about Chiefs defense since week 10. EPA per play number 19, so bottom half. Success rate number 9, so top third. EPA per pass number 13, close to average, a little bit above average. EPA per rush 30th out of 32. That's third worst. Explosive rush rate number 20, bottom third. So those are some telling stats when we have a really good run game and the best explosive run game. As you know how much I hate Greg Olsen, right? I mean, how many times I talk about I hate that. He got the mind of a center. But in the Green Bay Packer game, he was really careful to say the Niners are the team. They're like, you expect explosive pass plays, but the Niners have an explosive run game. And we had an explosive run in that game. And I was like, oh, God, you're making me like you. Not really. Just hate him less.
Well, he's gone now. Now it's going to be Brady that's going to take his job.
That's right. Well, I'm sure he'll end up somewhere else.
If you hated Brady before, you're really going to hate him now.
There you go. And I think I'm caught up going backwards. Oh,
but Brady is he's a big Purdy fan. Brady talked about, always having a chip on his shoulder when he played. He's like, he really thinks that Brock has that same chip. You know, a lot of people don't like Brock because he speaks about God and he's very upfront with his faith. Nowadays, if you can be any type of alternative lifestyle and it's accepted. The minute you bring religion into the fray, you are just like, I hate that guy. It's like, why? Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of whatever. If you want to be whatever you want to be and be called whatever you want to be called, that's great. But if somebody wants to talk about God when they get in a war, to let them talk. You know, I just think it's kind of hypocritical. That's just me.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Randy Lee Daytona says Ted would take Olsen out. Probably not. He's played tight end at a very high level, unless he like pulled the Joe Staley and lost a ton of weight and he was just like a skinny rail. But he's a lot younger than me too. That would be tough. I don't know, Randy. I don't know if I'd take that bet. Kingston Miller in the house says, "Hey Pookie, when you hopping on the party chat, it's Boba."
Oh, it's Boba. Boba's a bit. He's one of my gaming
Gamer?
buddies. He's a gamer. He's a big Jacksonville Jaguars fan, and he talked a bunch of s before that game.
Oh boy!
And then they lost, and he was like, "I can't believe it."
Ouch.
I think he said something.
34-3. Maybe our biggest beatdown of the season. Yeah, brutal, Kingston. But welcome to the show. Always welcome. Eric Wallace in the house saying hi to Kenny. Eric Wallace is a Seahawks fan, so I'm guessing he is pretty freaking happy.
Yeah, they got a defensive coordinator for a new head coach
from the Ravens. So
yeah, it's a pretty good move.
Defensive improvement from our most hated divisional rival, the Seattle Seahawks. I call them the sweep talks now, though, Eric, because we swept you the last 2 years in a row. So maybe you guys can go 1-1 with us next year. Probably not. He also said, "Hey, all." Now, honestly, though, welcome. And Eric is, for a Seahawks fan, he's actually pretty cool. So, I'll give him the benefit of that. Correction, I've looked it up. You haven't gotten more than 7 points in the second half since week 14 versus the Bills. If we start slowly, it might mollify the half. It's funny, James. Somebody said that to me. Maybe you saw the show. That, and maybe it was Ryan yesterday, said that, like, basically when we were down in the first half versus the Lions, it might, like, at some point in the second quarter, it might have been better just to like sandbag them and keep struggling right into the half rather than show them our stuff right before the half where they have all of halftime to adjust to it. Whereas then we start showing them our good stuff after halftime. Then they have no like break of meaningful time together as a team to actually, parse it out and come up with a plan against. So I thought it was kind of interesting. I'd never heard that line of thinking, but like here it's coming up again. So I don't know if you watched that, James, or if that was something you've heard.
I don't believe that. I can't in sports imagine that you want to say, shut up, Randy. He's just because it's relevant. No, I'm just kidding, Randy. You're good. In sports, I can't get on board with this thinking that like there's these conspiracies of like, oh, we purposely didn't show them stuff. We did this so that they would. No, they were kicking our ass, and we had a chance to get a touchdown. We had to sell it for a field goal, and our kicker missed. And then they just, they had guys waving goodbye to the crowd when there was still 3 quarters to go, and they're a year or two away. That's what they proved. The Niners are an experienced playoff team. And the Lions got comfortable and the Niners woke up. And that's pretty much what happened. Do I think that they could do that against Kansas City? No. You got to come out, like I said, you got to come out aggressive. You got to come out with purpose. You can't come out with, oh, we'll come back. How do you know? Like, you don't know that. Like, it could stop. That those 2 games could be it. So this whole mindset of, like, we can just do it again, like, it's that easy to come back, especially in a Super Bowl. I don't believe in that line of thinking.
There you go. Jess was calling out my visor. Yeah, for those who haven't seen it, it says the Brock Purdy Niners. And it was because the Purdy jersey that I'm wearing was given to me by an audience member. And so I was like, I didn't want people to think I was only wearing it because it was bought for me. I wanted people to know that I believe in our quarterback. So I went ahead and kicked down for a visor. Good thing I did too, because they're all gone. So I'm glad I scooped one up before the
Speaking
masses.
of Purdy jerseys.
Speaking of Purdy jerseys.
Hint, hint. I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll remain quiet, but there's a chance that there might be another one on the way for someone.
And there might be another one on screen next week. We'll see.
Yeah, depending on the timing.
Yeah.
We shall see. We shall see.
No, Ted's not going to wear two jerseys on top of each other.
Oh, like that guy. Did you see that guy? That tweet where the guy was like, "Who the game's over," and he takes off like a Bosa jersey, and then he takes off like a Purdy jersey, and then he's got like Kittle and Diva. He had like 7 or 8 jerseys on, and he was taking them all off after the game was over. I think probably like he's like starts the game and won, and then we're struggling, so he puts another one on, and then we're still struggling, so he puts another one on. That's in my mind what must have happened.
It was crazy, man. It was a crazy game. Like for
he ended up with like 8 freaking jerseys on his whole wardrobe.
I don't wear jerseys watching games.
I used
because I get I'm a really warm guy. I get really, really hot. I'm a hot sleeper.
I wear them if I'm going to Levi's.
Now, if they win a Super Bowl, I might wear my Purdy jersey all the time. Oh, did I say Purdy? If I get a Purdy jersey, I might wear it.
I think it's on the way, but I don't have confirmation on that, so we'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully, I can fit in it.
Well, I think you can. Triple XL. So
we'll see.
We'll see. What else? But yeah, we were just talking about something else, and I wanted to chime in. I
don't know.
All the jerseys. Oh,
you were talking about the jerseys.
I used to wear jerseys when I was watching games, and now I just wear them when I go to Levi's because I wear them for all my shows. So like, I figure for the game, I wear like a polo, or I have another sort of collared Niners.
I have some authentic jerseys that I could put in the background. I have a Frank Gore 21 red from 2000, was when the Reebok was still. I have a Willis.
Yeah.
I probably would. I mean, the Vernon Davis one. I don't know. He ain't the real 85.
No.
The real 85 is the guy we got now. Vernon Davis to me.
You could put some athletic tape over it and write Kittle on it.
Like just like like Scotch tape. It's like gray.
Yeah.
Yeah. That floating helmet is witchcraft. Yeah, it's funny that you guys say that. And Steve-O knows. He says, "Hey, Aaron, hope you're doing well, brother. Love the shows. What an exciting time for the 49er faithful." I feel like Steve-O knows. Were you under a different name? Or have you just been a fan and I never noticed you? And if that's the case, I apologize. If you're still here, let me know. I'm an old man now, so like my memory goes and stuff, you know. They hate religion, but they agree with the alphabet gang. Enough said.
Wiry. No, I'm thick, man. I am anything.
There's definitely
wiry.
neither of us are wiry. Put it that way. My arms look skinny on camera, but they are not.
I have T-Rex arms. That's why I think why Randy Elite Daytona does those T-Rex emojis. I think that's what
I have T-Rex. For my height, 6'3", I have T-Rex arms too.
Yeah.
Like for I have like if you look at my arms, they're not. I don't know. It's hard to tell on screen, but they're short. I have meaty hands too. They're like really thick.
Indeed.
He just did it. He put the T-Rexes on screen.
There you go. Kenny says we're the better team.
I think we are too.
Jupe says 42-36. So she's saying shootout, Aaron.
I think it's going to be a shootout as well. I don't think the Niners defense is going to step up. They're going to talk about it all week, and then they're going to go out and not do anything. I hate to sound like that, guys, but I mean, the only way they just, what could they change possibly that all of a sudden their defensive line starts playing well in the Super Bowl? Like, what are they going to do? They're going to stop using the wide 9 and just, have 5 defensive linemen at all times? Are they going to blitz?
I think you just need to play up more on the line of scrimmage and give them more time to get home, and I think they will. I think the problem was always Steve Wilkes playing too passive of defense. It's like what killed us first, that 3-game losing streak. Well, actually, no, it was the first 8 games. We somehow won 5 against inferior opponents, other than the Cowboys. Well, the Cowboys are inferior too. But and
He
then
does start very, very soft, always zone and four rushing.
it's like practically a prevent back then. He's got a little better, but it was Kyle said it at halftime there that there was the gaps were too wide in our zone in the first half, and they brought the linebackers up to the line of scrimmage, and we started enforcing. We started stuffing those inside runs that were tearing us to shreds in the first half. How do you think Purdy's going to do against a veteran QB like Mahomes in a big game like this? Well, Purdy doesn't play against Mahomes. Purdy plays against the Chiefs defense, and Mahomes plays against our defense. So, like we said, I think the running, we're going to be able to run it against the Chiefs defense. I'm pretty sure.
I think Purdy needs to get settled early. I know he gets a little hyped early in games. He'll make some erratic throws, and he's still a young quarterback. People get rushed, people get nervous. Just because someone's cool, calm, and collected doesn't mean they'd never feel nervous. Part of human nature to feel a little bit uptight or nervous, or get that that first hit that knocks you, gets you kind of going in a game where you have to get people are like, oh, that's not legit. That's not really. No, trust me, when you're in a contact sport and you get that one hit, it kind of unlocks all that adrenaline and everything. So with him, if I'm the Niners, screen it up, do a lot of, don't necessarily have him just dropping back constantly, because I think the Niners, they're just not built that way. The Niners, like you said, they're a front running team. The Niners play their best ball when they're ahead and they can use their full arsenal of weapons. The Niners traditionally struggle when they're behind because their offense isn't built to drop back 50 times. It's just their offense is a scheme specific, matchup specific, player specific. It's all about motion and deception and smoke and mirrors. That's what the Dolphins are. The same offense. If you notice, when the Dolphins are ahead and they're in a game, like, they can really hurt you. Like that game that they scored 70 points this year. I mean, like, that's when they're at their best. When they have to play from behind, this type of Kyle Shanahan type offense, it struggles. So to me, coming out and being aggressive is the way you should go about it. But knowing Kyle has demons to work out in this game too. Not just the 49ers, but Kyle himself. He needs to coach better. You know what I mean? If you have a chance to score before a half, make your mind up. Are you going to go or are you going to clock it? You know what I mean? Don't be both. Like, oh, I'm not sure. Oh, there's 30 seconds left. Oh, now there's only 10 seconds left and we're at the 5-yard line, but now I have to kick a field goal because I screwed around and wasted a bunch of time. Like, be firm in your decisions. I don't know.
No, I'm with you. Randy says system visor, Ted. No, this visor is a difference maker. Absolutely. Terrible arrogance on CJ's part, waving goodbye.
I noticed that early. I'm like, ooh, that might come back to haunt him, but I wasn't sure because of the way the Niners were playing. I'm like, maybe he's right.
Wasn't it the first half though? I could swear.
I think he said it. I think he did it within the first or second quarter. He did it early.
Yeah. Because I remember the score. It wasn't even 24-7. It must have been 17-7. Anyway, that was dumb. Yep, not smart. Chauncey got his chain snatched. Oh yeah, by CMC though, not by Debo. Oddly enough, his grandma gave him that chain. Friday reference. I think it was 2019. Our Vikings fan took off a jersey and a 49ers jersey underneath. He did not do the playoff game when we beat them. Oh, that's funny. Bandwagon alert.
Team Callie's got something down at the bottom of the chat.
Right.
He was reading my mind and talking about I'm not a big fan of the wide 9. He says, I think our wide 9 is really soft, wide 11, soft coverage, be pissed. Right. I don't like the defensive line sets when the wide nine. They're essentially they just rush. They rush, 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 rush. Like, okay, and then what about the run game? You know what I mean? Like the amount of massive gaps that open because of the wide nine is just insane. Guys get washed out of plays, and then there's just massive holes. I haven't been listen. I said this again. Yeah, I'm bringing up my brother. I said they gotta if the Niners lose this game in the championship game because of their defense, two things need to happen. They need to move on from Wilkes, and they need to move on from Chris Kasarik. I think because I personally think that the wide nine is kind of past its prime. I would like to see a different defensive approach when it comes to the pass rush, or just defensive approach in general. Like this whole like, oh, we got to run the Seattle defense crap. I feel like the Niners, if it ends up saying in the Super Bowl, say if our defense gets worked in the Super Bowl, you really have to start to look at certain coaches and certain things and even players and be like, maybe this needs to change because anytime we go against a team with a formidable offense, they gash us in the run game. And then if we're not getting home with four guys, we're essentially getting gassed in the passing game too. So I would like to see multiple fronts. I would like to see multiple looks. I would like to see just a variety in our defense instead of being the same thing all the time. Some of the best defenses keep the things unpredictable because the amount of different fronts that they can throw at an offensive line. The offense doesn't always know. Zone blitzing, corner blitzing, rushing a 5-man defensive line. You know what I mean? There's just blitzing in general. We don't blitz. Now you go against Patrick Mahomes, there's a good chance he's going to destroy you, right? But if you're doing it every so often, I don't think it's that much of a liability. But the defense has to come out differently in this game. That personally, they cannot come out. If they come out the same way, we're gonna get worked.
Yep, can't spot them the first half.
What's the go food on the Super Bowl Sunday, guys? Wings and pizza. Yep, wings and pizza. Maybe I'll have my mom make me some stuffed shells and some garlic bread.
There you go.
I'll change it up.
I was like, yes and yes, exactly. Wings and pizza, absolutely. I'm
gonna have a hard time eating that day because I'm gonna be so stressed. My jersey went bye-bye this week. The last time I wore it was at Ravens game. I got that pissed on whiskey. I convinced myself it was jinx. So at halftime, I set it. No way. You set your jersey on fire? Did you videotape it? Video or it didn't happen.
Ryan, No Border Sports was telling me that same story. So I think it might have been if Ryan did a simulcast or a game cast during the game, James might have been in the audience when that happened. So, well, we're coming up on the witching hour here. I feel like we've covered, maybe not everything, but as much as we need to for the week before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm not going to do any predictions or any type of this week. I feel like is a celebration week. Talking about the championship game, talking about what it would take to win a Super Bowl. And whatever storylines I think pop up. The Warriors treated the 49ers. I saw that.
Yeah,
they treated them to like a dinner.
Yeah, a lot of courtside seats.
So I'm a little bit skeptical of that kind of stuff because they haven't won the bowl yet. But
I'll take Claire Kittle over Tay any day.
Claire Kittle's pretty cute. She's a little average in the face, but she's cute. She looks approachable. Because if you look at some of the wives of some of these players, they look pretty phony. You know what I mean? They're super, super, super pretty in makeup. Claire's kind of
girl next door. Girl next door.
Yeah, she's got a girl next door vibe. If you look at her, they show her up close, it's pretty. Her face is, she's approachable. She just knows, they both were her. I just like the fact that her, Kittle's sister and Kittle's parents, they all work out and they're all really close. I think that's great.
Ryan Jen says prime rib for celebration dinner. Love
Hey,
it.
I'm not a prime rib guy because I don't like a bunch of fat.
Oh, fat's flavor, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, when it's cooked down, not when it's there and you're like,
Well,
yeah.
you cut around it, man. You don't have to
I'm not a prime rib guy,
you
dude.
don't have to eat globs of fat. It keeps the meat juicy. That's the trick. Kenny likes those really long sandwiches. Haha.
I bet he does. I like long sandwiches too.
Pause.
Pause.
Second quarter, I meant. Yeah, second quarter. Team Kali says.
Yep, that was what we're talking about. Yep.
Okay, I think we're kind of caught up here then. Thanks, Bryant. That means a lot coming from you.
Thanks, Bryant.
And
Sucks that we didn't get our money show. I was so disappointed.
Well, I'll just say peace. Go Niners. We're in the Super Bowl.
That's right. Quest for 6. No, take 6.
Take 6.